In a few years, the telephone may be as outdated as the telegraph. Instead, all calls will go over high-speed internet networks. You might already make calls like this with services like Skype and Vonage.
With Vonage, you can talk all you want from your home phone and your mobile phone.
But before we can make a complete switch, there are a few roadblocks. You see, phone companies are subject to a slew of government regulations. These rules are intended to ensure that the service is reliable, competitive, and accessible. But for the networks of the future, which of these old rules should apply and which should be left behind?
It's really none of my business, dear.
That's the question that the Federal Communications Commission is going to try to answer in the transition to IP, or Internet Protocol networks. One example of a rule? Well, if Grandma tries to call 911 on her new internet phone and the call doesn't go through,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
People will notice. That's why the FCC polices that. But what happens when the power goes out? Oh, phone companies are required to ensure that 911 service still works. Well, that's not a requirement yet of internet services. But shouldn't it be? Especially if that's all we have? So what's the holdup? Well, the FCC has announced that they're going to start holding trials to gather data and decide which rules should apply to the phones of the future.
Experimenting in these kind of trials is a smart way to go.
Broadband internet networks can carry traffic more efficiently, and the telecom giants are tired of maintaining their old networks of copper lines and outdated switches. AT&T and other companies want this move to IP networks to happen ASAP. But consumer advocacy groups like Public Knowledge and Free Press are urging the FCC to apply core regulatory safeguards. But it could be more than a year before the FCC makes any final decisions about how it's going to regulate. The consequences could shape how we communicate for decades to come.